evening, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Sport Odds Scoreboard. Sport Odds Scoreboard is a podcast that gives you a quick overview of all the latest sport odds and results from around the world. We got a big show ahead tonight. We're going to take you through all the NFL Super Bowl 57 odds. We'll have some tennis tonight, recapping all the major ATP and WTA events from around the world. We'll push through some NBA and get all the latest odds from the Serie A, the EPL and the A-League. Just a reminder, if you are enjoying this podcast, to please follow and like on all your favourite streaming platforms. All right, let's not muck around and let's get into this episode. This is the Sport Odds Scoreboard for Monday, February the 13th. NFL. We'll start off with a big one in America in Super Bowl 57, where we saw a shootout between the Chiefs and the Eagles. The Chiefs 38 defeated the Eagles 35. Chiefs starting that one at $2 and Eagles were $1.85. Chiefs also covered the line of plus 1.5 and the total of 51.5 went over. NBA. We'll stay in America, where there was just a couple of NBA games today. We saw Boston 119 defeat Memphis 109. Boston starting that one $1.67 favourites, Memphis $2.35. The line was set at 3.5, which Boston covered at the minus, and the game total of 225.5 fell over. In the other game for the day, we saw Toronto Raptors 119 defeat the Detroit Pistons 118. Raptors starting that one a short $1.15. Detroit Pistons were plus 11.5, which they covered, and the game total of 225.5 went over. Soccer. We'll move on to some soccer now, and we'll start in Europe with the EPL, where we saw West Ham 1 draw with Chelsea 1. West Ham starting that though on $3.40. Draw was $3.30 and Chelsea were $2.20 favourites. Arsenal 1 drew with Brentford 1. Arsenal starting that one $1.50. Draw was $4.33 and Brentford was $6.50. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 1. Palace $4.75. Draw was $3.75 and Brighton were $1.75 favourites. Fulham 2 defeated Notts Forest 0. Fulham $1.91, draw was $3.50 and Notts Forest were $4.33. Leicester got a big win over Tottenham, defeating them 4-1. Leicester were $3.50, draw was $3.75 and Tottenham starting at $2. Southampton 1 were defeated by Wolves 2. Southampton $3, draw was $3.20 and Wolves getting up at the $2.50. Bournemouth 1, Newcastle 1. Bournemouth starting a big $5.75, draw getting up at $3.80, and Newcastle starting strong favourites in that at $1.62. Leeds 0 were defeated by Man Utd 2. Leeds starting that one at $3.60, draw was $3.80, and Man Utd getting up at $1.95. And in the last game, we saw Man City 3 defeat Aston Villa 1. Man City starting that one strong favourites, $1.33. Draw was $5.25 and Villa were $9. We'll move to Australia now for a quick recap of the A-League. We saw Central Coast Mariners defeat the Brisbane Roar 2-1. Roar starting that one $2.55. Draw was $3.40 and Central Coast Mariners starting at $2.70. Adelaide United scored a big win over Western United 3-2. Western United starting that one $2.38 favourites. The draw was $3.60 and Adelaide United were $2.80. Sydney FC defeated Western Sydney Wanderers 1-0. Western Sydney Wanderers were $2.80. Draw was $3.25 and Sydney were $2.60. In the last game, we saw Melbourne City defeat Perth Glory 4-2. Glory starting that one $4.50, draw $3.75. Melbourne City getting up at the $1.75. We'll head to Italy now for some Serie A scores and odds. We saw Milan defeat Torino 1-0. Milan starting that game at $1.70. Draw was $3.60 and Torino $5.25. Empoli 2 drew with Spezia 2. Empoli starting at $2. Draw was $3.30 and Spezia were $3.80. Lecce 1 drew with Roma 1. Lecce starting that one $4.20. Draw was $3.20 and Roma starting $2. Lazio 0 were defeated by Atalanta 2. Lazio starting at $2.25. Draw was $3.20. Atalanta getting up at $3.40. Overnight we saw Udinese draw 2-2 with Sassuolo. Udinese starting at $2. Draw was $3.40 and Sassuolo at $3.60. Bologna 0, AC Monza 1. Bologna starting $2.30. Draw was $3.10 and Monza getting the win at $3.30. Juventus 1 defeated Fiorentina 0. Juventus starting that $1.70. Draw was $3.60 and Fiorentina were $5.25. And in this morning's game, we saw league leaders Napoli comfortably take care of Cremonese 3-0. Napoli starting that one $1.18. Draw was $6.50 and Cremonese were $17. Tennis. We had the finals of 5 tournaments last night. We'll start off on the ATP side of things where Wu Yibing defeated Isner in Dallas 2-1. 3 tiebreakers needed to separate the pair there. Score was 6-7, 7-6, 7-6. Wu Yibing starting that one $1.80 and John Isner was $2. Over to the clay in Cordoba where Sebastian Baez defeated Coria 2-1, 6-1, 3-6, 6-3. Baez starting $1.53 and Coria was $2.50. Over in Montpellier on the indoor hards, we saw Sinner defeat Cressy 2-0. Score was 7-6, 6-3. Sinner starting $1.30 and Maxime Cressy $3.50. Over to the WTA now in Abu Dhabi to start where Belinda Bencic defeated Ludmila Samsonova 2-1. Score was 1-6, 7-6, 6-4. Bencic starting $1.62 and Samsonova was $2.30. We'll finish up in Linz where Potapova defeated Martic 2-0. Score 6-3, 6-1. Potapova starting $2.10 and Martic was $1.73. We'll see the ATP move to Buenos Aires and Rotterdam this week, and the major WTA tournament will be the 500 in Doha. That's all we got time for on this Monday edition of the Sport Odds Scoreboard. Thanks for tuning in again. If you have been a long-time listener, thanks for your support. And please, if you can, share this, like and follow it on all your popular streaming platforms and socials. That'd be awesome. My name's Anthony, your host, signing off for this week. Hope you have a good week, and if you are having a little wager, please do gamble responsibly. We'll catch up on the next episode. Take care of yourself.